Sitting all the way 7T. Back with another EP. Y'all do your boy a favor. Y'all smash that like button for your boy when you roll on me. Greatly appreciate you sliding through. Whether you're here for a good time or a long time. If y'all could do your boy solid and smash that like button for your boy when you roll on in. Today we're here to have us a boxing conversation about the 175-pound division. About the top of the 175-pound division. To be exact, Arthur Beterbiev took on Anthony Yard over the course of the weekend, last Saturday. After the fight, entertaining fight, right? After the fight, Arthur Beterbiev took no time in making his next opponent choice known. After his fight with after his fight with Anthony Yard, Arthur Beterbiev, he went straight for the gusto, right? And he called out Bivol. Bivol is a guy that most of us, right? Most of us, I myself, most of us boxing have been wanting, Arthur Beterbiev to fight for quite some time now. For a while now, the two best guys at the 175-pound division has been seen as Arthur Beterbiev and Bivol, right? Whether you got Beterbiev or you got Bivol, it's been a little Anthony Yard sprinkled in there, over the course of the last few years. Anthony Yard took a couple losses, just took a loss, right, to Beterbiev. So as of late, it's kind of more. As of late, it's more so, defined on who the top guys are at the 175-pound division, right? And that's pretty much Arthur Beterbiev and Bivol. Bivol himself is coming off in his last fight, right? He's coming off a victory over Zurdo Ramirez. Zurdo Ramirez was another guy, right, who was seen to be one of the top guys at 175, right? Highly rated prospect, Zurdo Ramirez. Bivol is coming off a victory over him. Pretty easy victory, right? Pretty dominant fashion. Pretty dominant fashion. Unexpected, right? Dominant fashion for most, right? Didn't expect him. Even if you expected Bivol to win, didn't quite expect him to win the way, that he won. Right. So you got Bivol coming off the Canelo win, which would be the biggest fight of his career. Then you got him doubling it up with the Zurdo Ramirez win in his last fight. You got Arthur Beterbiev, who just beat Anthony Yard this past weekend, and he called out Bivol for some time now, right? At least the last year or so, especially since Bivol beat Canelo, right? Both guys, Bivol and Arthur Beterbiev, has made it clear that they want to face off with one another for undisputed at the 175-pound division, which I like. I'm gonna give them, I'm gonna give them some credit when it comes to that aspect, right? Because a lot of fighters these days, we live in a time right now, a lot of these fighters, not really trying to challenge themselves, to be the best or fight the best. You got some fighters who even come out and saying, straight up telling you that, championships don't matter, right? You got some fighters who feel like whoever they fight, is the best, right? Rather than going seeking out the guys at the top of the division or the guys who have the strap in the division, right? So I give I give Dmitry Bivol and I give Arthur Beterbiev credit on that aspect. On that aspect. Both guys have expressed interest right over the last year or so in fighting each other, and it's looking like that it may be about to happen. Or is it? You know what I mean? Or is it? Because you know what I'm being told, right? What I'm being told, what I had dropped on me, you know, a little earlier today, right? From Team Beterbiev, right? Somebody who I know, you know, is close to the camp type deal. I know he close to the camp, and he told me that you know, that their side is looking towards making that Dmitry Bivol fight for undisputed. Also told me that, you know, Beterbiev, he's getting up there in age, you know what I mean? So he's not necessarily trying to have, you know, a whole bunch more fights. Actually, if he could get, you know, the Dmitry Bivol fight and be successful, that very well could be, you know, Beterbiev's swan song. You know what I mean? He got a late start into professional boxing, a great amateur career, right? He wants to get undisputed. You know what I mean? He's one of those guys where he's not going to box, you know, late into his late 40s because of his late start in the boxing, right? You know what I mean? So Team Beterbiev, Team Beterbiev, right? I've been informed that they have their sites, and this ain't even just me, right? You know what I mean? Because he said this after his last fight, you know, to everybody, right after his performance. He stated that he wanted the Dmitry Bivol fight next. He stated that he wanted the Dmitry Bivol fight next. You know what I mean? So I've been informed, right, from my guy, from my source, reliable source, right? I get a lot of information, you know what I mean, from this guy. Uh, he has a direct source into, you know, a lot of these boxing gyms, right? These boxing circles, and he has a direct, you know, source into Team Beterbiev, and Team Beterbiev better be there. Ain't no stranger to, you know, these YouTube streets and to, you know, the YouTube families, right? Or the Twitter family, right? They're real. They're people that you can actually talk to. You can actually grab them. You can ask them questions, right? And what they're saying is they want to fight Dmitry Bivol next. You know what I mean? But I also know, right, from another source, right, that the top rank executive, the top rank matchmakers, right, the top rank people, right, they are more so leaning towards doing this thing that we've been hearing about, you know, as of late, meaning the last couple of days, right? The name Callum Smith has been brought into the fold when it comes to Arthur Beterbiev. Callum Smith has been named the WBC mandatory for Arthur Beterbiev's strap, right? So you got the WBC, Mauricio Suleiman coming in making a play. And naming Callum Smith as a WBC mandatory, right? So you got the WBC and Top Rank, who's more so interested in a Callum Smith fight for Arthur Beterbiev, right? And then you got Team Beterbiev, right? Who Beterbiev stated right after you know, the fight Saturday that he would rather fight you know, Dmitry Bivol. You got his team coming out saying that they would much rather, you know, have the Dmitry Bivol. You got his team coming out saying, right, that they would much rather have the Dmitry Bivol fight. And then you got top rank execs, you know, leaking information, leaking news. You know what I mean? That they're more so looking towards making a Callum Smith fight. And from what I'm being told from Team Beterbiev, that's not what they want to do. That's not what they're interested in. You know what I mean? I'm about to go to this article, right, from the top rank article, right, pretty much saying the exact opposite from what Team Beterbiev and his team, you know what I mean, are saying. Team Beterbiev want to go straight until the undisputed fight with Dmitry Bivol. But you got the WBC and Top Rank who's leaning more towards this Callum Smith thing. Also, you know, on the Dmitry Bivol tip, right? we gonna be here, y'all. It's 3 y'all here. We cooking. I feel like I ain't talked to y'all in a minute, so we finna come on here. I'm finna talk to y'all. We finna have us a boxing conversation. So also on the Dimitri Bivol tip, right? You got Dimitri Bivol in his side for whatever reason, who's also seeming hesitant or seeming like they don't necessarily want to make this undisputed fight just yet. And I'm starting to what's good, A1? What's good, A1? Tim Duncan looking at his nigga. And I'm starting to wonder why, you know what I mean, these sides seem to be so reluctant on making this fight happen. You got we heard to talk about the Beterbiev and the TopRank, how they at odds, with each other about making this fight happen. And you also got Eddie Hearn coming out and saying that trying to throw the Canelo wrench into this undisputed fight at 175, right? You got Eddie Hearn saying that I would want Dimitri Bivol to fight Canelo Alvarez, you know what I mean, at the end of this year, rather than go straight into the fight with Arthur Beterbiev. After Dimitri Bivol fight with Zerto, he said he felt like it would make more sense for Dimitri Bivol to fight Canelo and then go into the fight with Arthur Beterbiev. And now you got ESPN and TopRank coming down and saying we'd rather him fight Callum Smith first. We'd rather Beterbiev fight Callum Smith first before he go into a fight with Dimitri Bivol. But the problem here is, right, you got Dimitri Bivol saying that I'd much rather unify with Arthur Beterbiev. You got Arthur Beterbiev saying that I'd much rather unify with Dimitri Bivol, right? And for whatever reason, we got these two sanctioning bodies, and I'm going somewhere with this. You know what I mean? We gonna have we all preface 3 of y'all in here, 30 of y'all in here. You know what I mean? We gonna have us a little combo today. This situation is very familiar. I feel like we're about to get another, you know what I mean, situation where boxing boxing wants to fight. Boxing is calling out for a certain fight, but the powers that be, these sanctioning bodies, you know what I mean, have other plans, right? I feel like this fight right here, Beterbiev and Bivol is in the beginning stages of kind of like a Earl Spence, Bud Crawford kind of thing. Like more so the powers that be are the ones that's keeping this fight, from necessarily going down. I know that to be the case because I can listen to what the fighters are saying. I can listen to what their teams are saying, the information being leaked out, right? And what the information that, the big heads are leaking out, right? The top ranks and the zones are leaking out. Right? Genius. You know what I mean? But I digress. I digress, right? I feel like when it comes to Bivol, what's good, Teddy? Callum Smith, Teddy. Shout out my brother Teddy sliding through. Y'all could hit that thumbs up for your boy. Callum Smith has been ordered as the WBC mandatory, right? For Arthur Beterbiev's strap, WBC strap. He got 3 of the straps, WBC, the IBF, and the WBO. The WBC just ordered Callum Smith as Arthur Beterbiev's mandatory, right? And now you got top rank executives seeking out, that Callum Smith fight, even after Arthur Beterbiev and his team have, told the public, have said publicly, have directed them that he would much rather go into the undisputed fight. You know what I mean? But you got ESPN pushing the Callum Smith fight on Beterbiev, and then you got, Dimitri Bivol saying, I'd much rather fight Arthur Beterbiev than to go into another Canelo Alvarez fight. You know what I mean? But you got DAZN pushing the Canelo Alvarez fight on Dimitri Bivol. I'm about to read the article, straight from TopRank, and their plans for Dimitri Bivol, right? And then I'm gonna read, where not Dimitri Bivol. I'm about to read, the TopRank executives, and their plan for Arthur Beterbiev in his next fight. Then I'm gonna read what Arthur Beterbiev and his team, got planned for his next fight, right? But this is article from the boxing scene. It said Top Rank exec floats fight for the end of the summer in Montreal versus Callum Smith. Right. Arthur Beterbiev's next fight is already taking preliminary shape. Preliminary shape. The WBC, WBO, IBF Russian light heavyweight bruiser is coming out for thrilling 8-round stoppage over Anthony Yard, the WBO mandatory challenger, last Saturday night at the OVO Arena in Wimbledon. According to Carl Moretti, the vice president of Top Rank, which promotes Beterbiev, the next fight for the Russian knockout artist may come against yet another mandatory, the WBC's top contender in England's Callum Smith. Moretti said they will look to stage this fight in Beterbiev's adopted hometown of Montreal, Canada, sometime in the late summer. The 38-year-old Bivol, a Muslim, observed the Ramadan holiday that will last a month starting from late March, so he will not be available to fight in the spring. This is comments. This is the comments from Carl Moretti. Carl Moretti is the ESPN matchmaker, pretty much, right? ESPN executive. With Beterbiev's win over Anthony Yard, we now have a number of possibilities for his next fight. We will probably be obligated to offer a fight to Callum Smith, the mandatory for the WBC. We would like to stage this fight in Montreal at the end of the summer. So that's Top Rank. And what they had to say. You know what I mean about Beterbiev next fight. If y'all seen the fight this Saturday after Beterbiev, beat Anthony Yard, they put the mic in his face. They asked him who he would like to fight next. He said he would like to go directly into a fight with Dimitri Bivol. If y'all recall, after Dimitri Bivol last fight with Zurdo Ramirez, they asked him who he liked to fight next. He replied he'd like to go directly into a fight with Arthur Beterbiev. So my thing is, right, we got two fighters who want to fight for undisputed, the biggest crown in their sport, the biggest crown in their division. You got the number 1 ranked guy against the number 2 ranked guy. You got a guy with 3 straps. You got a guy with 1 strap, right? Both of them have expressed interest in fighting one another. So my thing is, why do you still have, DAZN and Eddie Hearn constantly pushing another Canelo Alvarez fight with Bivol, as if we want to see Dimitri Bivol beat the hell out of Canelo Alvarez again? And why we got one mandatory that just took place from Anthony Yard, who was about to fight, Dimitri Bivol, and then his mandatory took first hand, right? And now you got the WBC, the WBO mandatory took first hand, and now you got the WBC who is making Callum Smith, the mandatory, and now you got Carl Moretti and ESPN saying they're more than likely, going to go that direction, even though Arthur Beterbiev wants to go the undisputed route. So we got Arthur Beterbiev, saying one thing. We got Top Rank saying one thing. We got Dimitri Bivol saying one thing. We got Eddie Hearn in DAZN saying one thing. Right now, I think this happens a lot in boxing, right? All too often. The sanctioning bodies and the promoters or whatever, they have a different idea for the fighters than the fighters be having for their own selves. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can have fighters who ready to do a certain thing, and then you can have a sanctioning body who looking at their bottom line, saying, well, and why would I put him in a fight that he possibly could lose, and I could lose my leverage, I could lose my titles. Right now I got a champion with all the belts. Why would I put him in a 50-50 fight, even though that's the fight that the fans want, right? That's the fight that make the most sense. That's the fight between the 1 and the 2. Why would I put him in that fight when I can put him in a fight with somebody, who I probably know won't beat him, right? I get to keep my belts and I can still make a little money. Really, the owners win, right? The sanctioning bodies win. The only people that lose when things like this happen, right? The The only people who really lose, right? When you got fighters, wanting to go for undisputed, then you got, their promoters saying, now hold off on that. We'll do that fight at the end of the year. Let's have you 2-3 more fights before, we give you, before we put you in an undisputed fight or the biggest fight, in your division. Let's have 2-3 fights before that. The only people that lose when stuff like that happen is us, right? The people who battle fights, the people who watch the fights, the people who go to sport, the fans of the fight. You know what I mean? We the only people, that really lose because they go keep making money. They go keep doing their thing. The fighters lose, right? Because if they want, to challenge themselves, they want to. You got Arthur Beterbiev, who's never been undisputed, saying, "I want to be undisputed before I retire." You got Bivol saying, "My goal has always been to be undisputed at 175." So you got both fighters who have a certain goal. Then you got the sanctioning bodies who pretty much just, who trying to make money in the end. And I think that causes us to not get a lot of these fights. For example, I'm not even gonna say like Erlen Bud because I really feel like in that situation, Bud Crawford just really didn't want that fight, right? But I digress. But most definitely, right? Right, you have a lot of situations where sanctioning bodies, right, stop big fights from happening. And it's kind of always, been like that in boxing. But I ain't gonna keep y'all in this thing too long. I know I know it's a lot of other fam that's already live. I'm gonna do a longer EP where we gonna come and actually have us a real boxing conversation. I just want to come in here, bring a little light to this situation. We got another situation, right, where we got the powers that be that's holding up an undisputed fight. We already missed out on Earl and Bud, right? Don't let them fool you. That fight, ain't happening. Earl moved up to 54. Bud down there 147. You got Bud Crawford rumored to be signing to Golden Boy, right? Alexis Rocha more than likely is going to be next up in the WBA for Bud's mandatory, which is going to be called in April, right? The 4 fighters who in front of Alexis Rocha are busy. It's probably going to be, Alexis Rocha yet. That fight, is past us, right? So I hope we can find a way to get this Bivol and Arthur Beterbiev fight. You know what I mean? On and popping. Both fighters seem to want it. Let's hope that TopRank in the zone, you know what I mean, could stop giving everybody to run around, even their own fighters, right? Because you got them saying one thing, TopRank saying another thing. Hopefully we get this jump to go down. But I just wanted to come in, drop that tad bit on y'all. I ain't gonna keep y'all in this thing too long. Skin the hard away, Southern T. This ain't the past, this ain't the future, but just the present. That's how we rocking, and I'm out.